friends. It's most of my great childhood memories. It's how my parents made a lot of their friends. My dad was almost always my coach, and it was just incredible memories for me. I grew up not far from here in Cheltenham, and I played for a youth organization called the Cheltenham JVs. And whatever season it was, I was playing for them. And whatever team I was on, our name was the JVs. And it really annoyed me because it's a stupid name. But now, being older, for the benefit of hindsight, 30, 40 years later, it's still a stupid name. It still bothers me. I like how Whitpain has its own team names. So about August of 2014, my wife Maureen and I moved here from Roxborough. And for that first month or so, we're unpacking, we're getting used to our new life, we're not really thinking about youth sports. Our oldest child, Maddie, was 5 years old. And I clearly remember one Saturday afternoon, I was driving down Skip Ave, passing Shady Grove on my left. And I saw what seemed like 1,000 kids playing soccer. And it seemed like it must have been every kid in Bluebell and every family. And I said, I don't know what this is, but we need to be a part of this. And so I found out it's called WRA. I learned more about it. And I thought how amazing this organization is. And for the kids, they have sports like soccer and basketball. They have leisure activities like baseball. Sorry, my baseball friends, but if you're being honest with yourselves, it's a little true. So we got our kids signed up, and I started coaching and helping out where I could. And after a couple of years, our oldest daughter, Maddie, was old enough to play travel soccer. And I found out there was a travel soccer committee, and I asked if I could be a part of it. I asked if they needed help. And what's kind of funny now, and Sean alluded to it, is the need for volunteerism. And it's so odd to me because it was never a second thought to me that I wanted to be involved with what my kids were involved with. I wanted to coach them. I wanted to know about the organization. I wanted to be involved in the organization. I wanted to help the organization. And when I found out there was a travel soccer committee, I raised my hand. And I met some amazing volunteers like Pat Bailey, Brendan Hill, Marisa Pigeon, George Crowley, Julian Bill Stein. Scott Greenberg was just wrapping up at that time. I'm not really sure what he did. And I got the job of field coordinator. And the person who had before me was George Crowley. And George had done it for 6 years. And he had done an excellent job with it. He did an excellent job of teaching me how to do it. Now, was George completely honest with me about how much time field coordinator would require? No, not in any way. He was not even a little bit honest with me. But I think after being part of this for a while, I think there's probably a healthy amount of, let's call it good-natured deception when you're recruiting people for volunteers. I did that job for 3 years at Wesart, but I think what I'm most proud of in my time with the Travel Soccer Committee is actually starting the Whitpain Soccer social media pages. When I started out, WRA had a Facebook page, they had an Instagram page, and occasionally there were posts about soccer. But I'm just thinking, there's so many teams, there's so many kids doing this, there's so many accomplishments being performed, there's so many games being won. We need to put it out there a little bit more. So I pushed for social media pages for Whitpain Soccer. Pat Bailey pushed for it, and thank you to Sean and Brendan and the board of directors for allowing it to happen. And now a couple of years later, and a couple hundred posts later, I think we have about 580 followers on Instagram. We have about 750 followers on Facebook. And it's just been, it's been fun for me and really rewarding to get that kind of reassurance that there was that kind of appetite for the content, there was that interest in soccer programs. Sorry, I did have notes and I kind of forgot where it was. Mm-hmm. And I know they're not here right now, but I would just like to say that as far as I'm concerned, Pat Bailey, who ran the travel soccer program for about 10 years, there should be a bronze bust of his head in the clubhouse at CSB. And Pat Bailey and Brendan Hill should absolutely be in the inaugural class for the WRA Hall of Fame. What they did over time was incredible, and I'm still in awe thinking about it. And Andy, thank you very much for the introduction. But for those of you who have not been on the Travel Soccer Committee, you should know, anyone who has spent 1 minute on the Travel Soccer Committee knows that every single year, the Volunteer of the Year Award should go to the club coordinator. Pat Bailey should have gotten it 10 straight years, and everyone will tell you that. Andy O'Dell should get it last year, should get it this year. The amount of work that you do, I'm in awe of it as well. And I thank you for your leadership. I thank you for your initiatives. I thank you for your wanting to take us in new directions and implement new ideas. And I'm sorry that you're not going to be doing it much longer. You guys might not know this, so I now have one kid in the program, our son Declan. Our daughter Maddie's now at FC Delco. And I ask myself constantly how long I can continue to put this kind of time in for one kid playing travel soccer and my less interested kid. Andy currently has no children in the travel soccer program, and he is still doing the hardest role we have, the club coordinator. So if you could please give actually a round of applause for Andy. And as I look at my beautiful wife Maureen, I'm reminded of a funny conversation we had a couple months ago before the late summer soccer tournament for Whitman. And I mentioned to her that we're light on volunteers for the tournament. Would you mind working the snack stand for a couple hours? And she looked at me and that look she gives me when she wants to punch me in the face. And she said, Matt, I volunteer through you. Now, she did it a couple of hours anyway, and she's volunteered for every single tournament, but she makes an important point. And as much time as I put into Whitpain Travel Soccer over the years, I never forget that every hour I'm spending there, that I'm not helping out with making dinner for the kids. Every hour I'm spending there, that I'm not helping the kids out with their homework. Every hour I'm spending there, that I'm not filling out whatever paperwork we need to fill out, or whatever appointment we need to take them to. Maureen is doing that much more, so I can do it. As I look around the room, I just want everyone to think that for as many great volunteers as we have here, none of us could do what we do if our significant others and spouses weren't doing that much more extra at home. So please we can give an extra round of applause to all the spouses. You're the best and I love you.